Hello, Suzanne. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Elisha, sorry.
Beautiful.
I'm doing great. How
I
are
am doing
you?
quite fine, and thank you so very much for being here. You say, I truly appreciate you. And you say, Suzanne, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Suzanne, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, Suzanne, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. They say some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Suzanne, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it. And the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, just recently, Suzanne, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately, I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it. Beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Suzanne. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a wonderful experience that day. I was so, so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Suzanne that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me. That's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Just like I mentioned earlier, your philosophies, your insight, the beautiful works you're doing, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions. These stuffs I found very beautiful. So I've got to say thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I love the mango story.
Awesome, Suzanne. So let's get started. You see, mm, I am quite excited to have you on the show today, Suzanne, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Suzanne, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Suzanne on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Suzanne, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Suzanne, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Suzanne got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Suzanne, over to you.
Well, what would you like to know about how I got to where I am inside of me or where I am in the world
Hmm.
or both?
Just let us, we want to know how Suzanne got here. We're just curious about everything about Suzanne. So we can start from maybe your personal journey or your professional one. Anyone.
Well, my personal journey informs my professional journey, I would say. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and that brought me to seeking solutions of healing and restoration, but I also loved science. And so I found a system, a framework that helped me understand a deeper purpose for our life on this earth and what we produce in the world or what's happened to us, because I did not want to be defined by my trauma. And that deeper purpose for me is that we have the opportunity while we're in this human body to realize and remember the truth of who we are, which is a radiant soul or a drop of the eternal ocean of love or the source of life for all of creation. And professionally, I have a coaching and consulting business, and I've always worked with leaders, and I've always brought an intersectional, and I've worked with teams and organizations, and I've always brought an intersectional lens. I'm curious how race, gender, class, and religion shape us. And if we can look at some of those forces of how we're shaped, we can also find pathways of liberation and freedom. So those are just in a little bit of a nutshell. That's
Awesome.
personal and professional.
Awesome. And I got it. Beautiful. So I've got some questions here, okay? So let's begin with this first. So, how can someone reclaim themselves and step into authentic power? Got it?
Yes, I think it depends on how we define power. Is power an energy source, like the power of a waterfall? Or is power a position that has authority that could have a power over? But if we're saying step into our own power and authentic power, the question begets us then is what is the source of power and energy inside of us that we can step into? And we don't generate our own energy. If we did, we would never die. So, where do we get this gift of energy from? Where do we get this gift of life from? And if we've been given this gift of life, isn't there that power already inside of us? So, by tuning in more deeply inside through stillness to the radiant power of the very gift of life, we can step into our authentic radiant power. It's more than our personality, it's more than our ego, it's our beingness. It's the very gift of life that resides inside of us.
The very gift of life that resides inside of us. Got that. I got that. Okay, so what about this one? Let's say we've got some listeners right now who are feeling like, something is missing. What can they do?
They can ask themselves, where are they seeking that which is missing? Are they trying to get it from other people, a relationship? Are they trying to get it by proving their value in the world through their position? Or are they acknowledging that that missing could be a deeper longing to your own homecoming inside? And I believe if we direct our attention inwards towards that radiant energy inside that's really giving us the gift of life, that we'll find bountiful resource and a bountiful homecoming right inside of us.
Right inside of us. I got that as well. So what about this one? What can nature's design teach us about leading with purpose and clarity?
I think that's great, actually. I was just reading from my book earlier that there's a source of life for all of creation. So this whole physical world is animated through an energy source, which means that energy is in everyone and everything. So we're connected through an inner web of energy, of life energy from a benevolent giver, a giver that just gives generously and unbiased. And yet our social conditioning creates biases and judgments inside of us of who has value or who doesn't have value and who has hierarchy and who doesn't, have hierarchy or whatever you want to say. But the energy source that gives life doesn't do that. So our social systems do not reflect the natural laws of energy, which is energy just sends. So all of us are alive. All of us deserve to live our potential. All of us deserve to be included. So as leaders, we have to ask ourselves, who am I overlooking? Who am I promoting out of preference, and who am I not promoting because I can't see their value? Am I able, as we build a more global world, am I able to actually include everyone that might be different than me in a way that gives them an opportunity for their full potential? Do I have the capacity and skill set to do that? Or am I dismissing? One of the sweet spots I have that I focused a lot on is around race. So looking at how does race, if you look at race, it's the intersection at the bottom of every aspect of whether it's race, class, gender, whatever it is, race is always there somewhere. So I always feel like if we can solve racism, we can solve every other ism, is what I believe. But like I believe we don't know how to humanize across difference. And I think when we can tune into that living energy that's inside of everyone, that I'm like, this is a living energy. I don't understand their experience, but am I willing to see them as even human? Am I making them human in front of my eyes? And am I seeing the potential, or am I have a narrow vision because I have a preference of what I think is valuable or not valuable? And so I think we're heading into a global leadership market, and I think we have to be prepared to be led by people that don't look like us. I think we have to be prepared to include people that don't look like us. And there's a Black woman leader who was very high up in an organization, and she would hire me to coach her team to be able to be led by her as a Black woman, because they weren't giving her authority, because they weren't used to seeing a Black woman in authority in that kind of position that high up in an organization. So I had to work with her team to look at, what are your biases towards Black women? How do Black women get demonized? What do you need to do to be able to be led by her? So that's crazy to me that I would need to do that. And yet it was valuable because it ended up supporting her as a leader.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you mentioned that you were going through your book. Can you tell us about your book? What is the title?
The book is called It's Deeper Than That: Pathway to a Vibrant, Purposeful, and Liberated Life. And the first section is, it's about me and my overcoming with my childhood sexual abuse by learning about the power of energy within me. The second section is more of a teaching section. There's QR codes in there that you can get to teaching videos and meditations and journaling, and learning about what's the difference between stillness and sedation, aloneness and isolation, longing and wounding. And then the last section is called Everyone. Like I said, if life energy is in everyone and everything, how come our social systems don't reflect that? And I believe we can become better human beings, because I've seen it, where we can come together with great diversity and build vibrant, thriving communities and cultures where everyone's life is valued. It's the truth that every life is valued, and we should
Yeah,
operate that way
yeah,
with our civic engagements and our organizations.
exactly, exactly. And that's so true. So while you were talking about your book, you mentioned stillness and sedation. So can you tell us the difference between these two?
Yes, because it's hard to tell sometimes. Stillness is a way of entering into vibrancy, which I know sounds crazy, but if you think about still waters run deep, there's movement and stillness. It's dynamic. So stillness is alive and stillness is vibrant. So there's potency in stillness, and the mind might be chattering, but you're not following the mind itself. You're giving some space to that chattering, and just having a moment of awe inside of you, or a moment of gratitude. And in that stillness is reverence and humility and love. It's very alive. Sedation is more of a numbing, or a way of just sort of shutting down, and it feels like I'm still, but I'm actually not feeling alive. I'm feeling shut down, closed off, disconnected, and it can seem like it's still, but it's not alive. So that's one of the differences between stillness and sedation.
Wow, got it, got it. And that was beautifully said. I got that. So you see, listening to you speak, you are really good at what you're doing, and I love it. So I wanted to ask, I believe there is something that is so inevitable, which is challenges at times, these tough moments. So how are you able to overcome these tough periods?
That is such a great question, Elijah. I really appreciate you asking that, because there are going to be tough moments that come. It's like the weather. We don't know when the storm's going to hit and how hard it's going to hit us or how hard the wind's going to blow. If I didn't have an inner anchor, I was 20 years old when I learned that the soul energy is operating inside of me and it's my gift of life. And I did research about it. A battery needs a liquid medium in order to conduct energy. And I learned that our cerebral spinal fluid is our liquid medium that conducts the energy. So I thought, well, if this energy is inside of me, why don't I get to know it? So I went and did some inner research until I could experience the pulsing and the radiance of my own vital energy deep inside. And if I stay connected to that, I don't get tossed around in the storm so hard. But if I don't have an inner anchor, I'll get tossed around. So I cultivate every day a relationship with this inner anchor so that I have resource to a self-renewing energy, that I anchored in something deeper than what's at the surface, because the material world is constantly changing and there will never be perfect peace. There won't be perfect peace here, but I deserve to know the peace within.
Hmm. You decided to know the peace within. I got that. So to bring this to an end, Suzanne, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or make a purchase of your wonderful books, or even open your services or programs, how can that be possible?
That's great. Thank you so much. The thought I want to leave is that there's a deeper purpose for our life, to remember that we're a radiant power of energy that's been given to us by the source of life for all of creation, and we deserve to turn inward and know it, and we deserve to do that before our last breath. And one of the titles for the book was going to be Life's Happening, Where Are You? Are you tuning in to the power that's inside of you, or are you only paying attention to the material world, which we're going to leave anyway someday? So I say, why not build your own heritage within? So that's my lasting thought. And you can get a hold of me at unifingsolutions.com. There's a book portal tab at the top where you can enter into the book portal and you can have access to the meditations, the teaching videos, the journaling prompts. There's a wisdom deck, a disconnection quiz. Eventually, the documentary will be on there. Or you can reach me at Suzanne at unifingsolutions.com. And Elisha, I really appreciate you
Beautiful.
having me here today.
Beautiful, Suzanne. So that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
That was a beautiful one.
Elisha.